The Border Management Authority has just wrapped up their briefing on the traffic update in Mananga border. Newzroom Afrika's Nqobile Madlala is there and joins us live. Nqobile, good to speak to you this afternoon. Any key takeaways from that briefing?
Very important. We are hearing that Mananga border post is going to be used especially for those that are traveling in and out of Mozambique. So in other words, it will be used as a bypass should the 23rd sees that there are flare-ups at the Lebombo border post. This is on the Mozambican side. You will remember that on the 23rd there is an expectation though that there will be a pronouncement of of the results in Mozambique. So should then the people decide that they are taking to the streets and that there is a disruptions like what we have seen in the past, then Mananga border post is going to be used. I want to bring in now Commissioner to speak to us about this. You've done a walkabout, Commissioner, very important. Can this port handle the amount of traffic that we have seen at Lebombo post?
Yeah, no, thank you very much, Nqobile. Obviously, Mananga port of entry is fairly small compared to Lebombo, as it were. It is fairly small. That is why our general message is that people must, try to move out of South Africa for those that will want to go for holidays or they want to go for visitation, in Mozambique, or actually the Mozambicans themselves, that they must at least use this time. However, should there be an interruption on the 23rd and we are forced to get people diverted, we will get them diverted. So what we have actually done, Nqobile, is to put through a bit of a contingency on the table to be able to bring in some more capacity to can be able to handle the volumes, as it were. It cannot be compared with Lebombo even infrastructurally, but we will be able to manage the movement of people if indeed we are going to be forced to stop operations on that side.
The freight is obviously a long line like what we have seen at Lebombo post. One would say the infrastructure here potentially cannot be able to contain that much freight. Is it possible that it will be going through here as well?
No, not necessarily that we are encouraging freight to be coming to Mananga, as it were. Our biggest encouragement is just purely on the basis of the movement of persons. Because remember, if people have to go out for example, going back home, and they are stuck in another country. So we are giving the option of Mananga because it is 60 kilometers from Lebombo coming here. But at the same time, when they are here, to exit from here and enter into Eswatini and enter into Lomahasha and exit to Maputo is almost the same distance ultimately. So because of that, we are basically giving it as an option, but not necessarily the option within the context of freight. Because remember, if you look at the deeper trucks that are actually on the N4 and the volumes that are there, we wouldn't necessarily be able to handle that at this small port, as it were. And that is why we are saying those that are on the corridor will try our best to process them as we are continuing to process them, so that before the 23rd, they would have been to Maputo port, offloaded their minerals, and still be able to come back. And depending on the outcome of the discussions that side, we will then be able to chart the way forward. But not necessarily that we are saying that cargo must move this side. I think we've also seen the road, even when you pass through Mananga township, as it were, it is very much small, and therefore it can't necessarily be able to handle that kind of cargo. Yeah.
And in terms of law enforcement and some of the people that you are going to be bringing here, are you going to be adding in terms of the force on the ground?
No, definitely. We are going to be adding a law enforcement team on the ground. And that is why, if that eventuality indeed it is to happen, we will also bring some capacity also from the same Lebombo and bring them here. Like I said, it's 60 kilometers apart. So we should be able to bring them here for them to be able to come and assist from a border law enforcement point of view. And in the same way, we'll also do to Jibis Reef, which is just close by here, we'll also be able to bring capacity. But from where we are sitting, we are fairly going to be able to handle the situation.
Thank you very much, Commissioner, for speaking to us. We want to bring now Eswatini to speak to us about these details. We just want to know, as Eswatini, are you going to be ready for this process to take place?
Well, we can say that we are ready as Immigration Eswatini. We had an opportunity to deliberate with the Commissioner and assess the level of preparedness of our officers on the ground. We've also had an opportunity to inspect and check the facilities on the ground. We have also adjusted, for example, the operating hours of this particular border. As you will recall, that ordinarily it closes at 6, but we've adjusted the hours to 8 p.m. One can also add that the possible exit borders that these migrants might want to use, that is Mhlumeni and Lomahasha, they close quite late. Mhlumeni 12 midnight, Lomahasha 12 midnight. So we don't foresee a situation whereby a person can enter Eswatini and be in a position not to exit.
Are you concerned about the flare-ups that are taking place in Mozambique, how they would affect Eswatini?
Well, that will be an unfortunate situation if it could interrupt really our operations Eswatini. But we are hopeful that it will not disrupt our work pattern. Our biggest mandate is to ensure safe and orderly migration, and we shall see to it and serve in that space.
Thank you very much for speaking to us. That is from Eswatini, Mthokozisi Dlamini. He's also speaking on immigration side of Eswatini. Obviously, this is going to be a very important border should there be any flare-ups within Mozambique. And of course, earlier on, we spoke to the commissioner who was also giving us details in terms of the South Africans' preparation for the 23rd should there be any flare-ups on that side.
Nqobile Madlala giving us an update on the plan B at the Mananga border post should Lee Bombo border post not be accessible. Appreciate your time.